This morning, as I was walking in the garden with my cup of coffee, I started to think about how as we are setting up our garden for the winter, this also means that it is holiday season. So I came up with a list of 16 different ideas on my phone that you could either give to yourself or someone that loves gardening. And these are just some really fun ideas that I think have made a differentiator at our homestead for me, my husband, and are just kind of fun ideas that maybe I'd love as a gift as well if we don't have it already. And the first one is a really simple, easy one, and that's a really good, durable pair of gardening gloves. I love to be able to have gloves handy. I actually have a few different sets of gloves dependent on the task at hand, but it's really nice when you're outside in the garden so you don't get your hands super dirty. And a few of these gift idea items, you can also package a few of them and put them in a nice little basket, maybe a harvest basket, something nice that you can have along so you can do a little gift basket in a harvest basket. We have some of our favorite ones that I'm going to link everything down below for this video so you can have some ideas. You can start looking around and hopefully start gifting some of these things to your gardening friends. Now the next item is actually going to be a nice gardening tool kit, some nice gardening tools. I think when you're in the garden, you could always use your hands, or if you've gone around and been gardening for a while, you're probably grabbing some from Home Depot, but having a nice matching set that you can hang artistically in your garden and grab at any time is going to be really nice. You also just want a really good hardy set that can take on all the work that you have to do in your garden. So I think whether it be some of those smaller sets that just have the shovel and hose and rakes that you can use with your hands, or some of the larger items as well, either one is really going to work depending on your garden or your family or friend's garden that they're working in. Some other great garden items that maybe someone wouldn't buy for themselves but would be a nice gift are maybe one of those kneeling blocks or a chair for your garden, especially if you're giving it to someone that's in their garden a lot. As you do get older and you keep on gardening more, it definitely does some work on your back, on your knees. So having a spot that you can actually kneel down onto or sit onto is really nice. And there's some really nice ones that also have harvesting components to them, so you can harvest stuff in your baskets and then sit on it as well. So those are really cool. Another item that we honestly wish we could have unlimited amounts of, because we do so much work with mulching and cleaning out the garden and bringing in dirt, is a good wheelbarrow. Now, we've probably gone through a few wheelbarrows, and I do have to say that probably if you could go to a estate sale or garage sale and get a used one for yourself, that's probably going to be the best idea to get the best quality wheelbarrow, just because you never know with some of the newer stuff. I just don't think they're built as good as the older stuff. But we love our wheelbarrows. We use them really often. Not necessarily the most beautiful gardening gift, but a very practical one that the person that you give it to is going to love and use all the time in their garden. So definitely something that's going to be a high use item, and they'll think of you every time they're wheelbarrowing around things. And they're also a pretty good price point where you could get that for someone, and it could be either anywhere from like $50 to even $200, depending on how nice you want to go with that wheelbarrow. At our homestead, we love the sound of beautiful birds chirping around, and we have so many birdhouses just everywhere along our property. We actually bought our house and there was a lot of birdhouses here, so we've just kept it up, and it just has created a beautiful, serene environment. And I think birdhouses or bird feeders are a great addition to a garden and to anyone that loves the outdoors and wants to be able to see birds come in. If you have a friend that actually has a cat, you can do bird feeders that connect onto the windows, which are really cool, so you can watch the birds come in. So any bird lovers, anyone that really loves the outdoors, I think you can't not love a bird. And maybe even like a hummingbird feeder could be really cool. We have some really great ones that we have in our property, and it's always amazing watching a hummingbird come at your window and drink from that hummingbird feeder, or drink from flowers that are coming from your hummingbirds as well. Some other items that you can think about that are more clothing, apparel type, especially if you have friends that are outside, family that's outside in the sun all the time, getting them a nice gardening hat, something that's going to have a nice wide brim and really good sun protection. Maybe you could also get them some fun gardening attire, whether that be a gardening apron with a bunch of pockets so you can harvest everything inside of them, maybe even grab your eggs inside of there, or getting really fun gardening apparel, so like shirts, sweatshirts, clothes. There's really fun stuff on Etsy, and I'll link some of my favorites down below, but they're really creative with a lot of this stuff, and why not showcase what you love on what you're wearing? I think anybody would love a t-shirt that has some fun stuff, even if they're just wearing it when they're outside in the garden or wearing it as PJs. They're gonna love to have that if they love the garden. Anyone that's maybe new to gardening, I think something to start seeds in. This is obviously a very flimsy, not great one. I'm gonna include better ones that we have at our homestead and use. This is just literally out here, but any type of starter setup is gonna be great for people that want to start getting their own garden going, or who already have it going. You can get them a nicer version so they don't have a flimsy whimsy one just like this. Something with some nice starter pieces is going to be a really great gift that you can give someone. Something that we recently talked about was our metal garden beds. We have some new metal garden bed additions to our homestead, and I think if you can gift any type of garden beds to someone, that is such a great gift. I would definitely first just check and see if they have space for them, what colors they like, or maybe just give them a gift card to one of the spots that you could get these for. But we love our metal garden beds. They come gifted pretty small, they're pretty lightweight, so you're not lugging a huge bed over to someone's house. But this is really great, or even just like a window box for anyone that is looking to do more indoor gardening. You could also get them a really nice herb indoor gardening set, something that they can start their plants in and have all of those herbs all winter long, especially because you can't be doing that outside when it is cold. If you're in a colder climate like us in a zone 7, you can't be growing outside in the winter as well as if you could in your own kitchen garden. And there are some really cool hydroponics setups that we even tested out, and I can link down below what we've used, and I think there's really some cool tabletop versions of that. To go on to that, I think if you're really starting off and you're getting into gardening, or you have a friend that's really getting into gardening, composting is such a great way that you can take from your kitchen and bring it into your garden, give it another life. So we have a nice compost tabletop piece, but you can also take that a little bit further by getting someone a Lumi, which is actually something that's going to instantly start to compost. It's a little bit of a higher ticketed price, but it's a really cool product. You could also upscale it even more by giving them a nice big compost tumbler that can actually be outdoors. And this is probably a second phase that you're bringing outside all of your stuff and you're churning your own compost. Now, we actually have our own compost set up outside that we made on our own, but if somebody had gifted me my own compost churner, I would have thought that was really cool, and I definitely would use it and want to take advantage of all of the kitchen items that we had that you could just be throwing away and giving them another life. Another great item for anyone that is into gardening could be a rain barrel collection system. Something that you can hook up to your house and actually funnel all of the rain water into in order to water all your plants. Anything that you can do to minimize the amount of work that you need to do of bringing water into the garden and being able to collect something and reuse it is going to be something that a gardening lover would love as well. I know I would love one of these in our house, and I think that would be a really great, unique gift idea. The last item that I do not have but would love to have if I was not allergic to bees would be my own beekeeping starter kit. Anyone that's looking to get into bees, you're probably not going to know too much at the beginning, so being able to get them a nice kit of a lot of the different things, maybe it's not the best quality, but it's getting them started in that and getting them learning about the hobby or any other hobby kits around that, whether it be like tapping into maple trees and making your own maple syrup, or getting started with canning. Little tiny kits like that can really start up a hobby and get them thinking about things that they might want to do in that space and just learning more about it. So I hope that these were some helpful ideas. I know some of these I want to get on my own. Some of these we already have at our homestead that are making a really great difference. And I'd love to hear if there's other things that you're thinking about as you're gifting this year for your gardening friends.